Greetings to all of humanity. It's really a joy, it's a pleasure. It's always my honor to be out here well connected with nature and bringing to you this message of emancipation, whereby I'm pointing you to look inwardly to discover that your real identity is your divinity. And that is why I want to speak to you today concerning Neville Goddard and Malcolm X. As we know, Neville Goddard had a mentor, and his mentor was Abdullah, the black mystic from Ethiopia. And we know that Malcolm X had a mentor also, and I think his mentor was Elijah Muhammad. And the reason why I chose both is because I'm seeing the similarities in terms of Abdullah taught Neville how to love himself and how to embrace himself, and that he must start with self and to invest in self, using his time wisely, and also be very sensitive and appreciative of everything in his life, vibrating under the attitude of gratitude. And so we see also Malcolm X was taught these life value lessons also by his mentor, who was Elijah Muhammad. He taught him to love himself and to embrace himself and to believe in himself. And so we see Abdullah wanted Neville to learn something about himself that he would be able to share with the rest of humanity, because he would realize that it is very much applicable to the rest of humanity and that they would need to practice these values in their life also. So too with Malcolm X. Okay, some people may look at the religion, but I'm not looking at the religion. And if you understand Islam, you would realize that Islam is I, self, Lord, and Master. And that is what all religion basically should be about. It's about discovering yourself. But many people get trapped within the religion and never go beyond the religion to discover all about self. So here we see also that Malcolm X will have learned certain values about himself by the teaching of his mentor, and he was encouraging others to allow these values to govern their lives by understanding how the mind works and understand that their belief system can keep them in mental slavery, or their belief system can set them free. But all in all, Abdullah was teaching Neville Goddard how to come into liberty, how to come into true freedom. And Malcolm X was teaching his people also how to come into true freedom, how to come into true liberty. And that is saying to us that there are mentors, are wise ones who are always among us to help us to look within ourselves, to point us where to find the answers of life. When we listen to all of these men from way back to now, we realize the prophets, the sages, and the yogis, all the wise ones, the philosophers, one thing they have in common: they've been teaching you to believe in yourself. Another thing they have in common is that they all believe that we become what we think about most of the time. So it is very important for us to know how we should spend our time and what we should invest our time in and what we should pay our attention to. And that is why, my brother and my sisters, Malcolm X taught us how to pay attention to what the ancestors would have known before slavery. Malcolm X taught us to know our true identity, to know our true nationality, to know our true spirituality. And we see Abdullah taught Neville Goddard also to know these things and to understand the Bible psychologically and interpret it esoterically. So my brother and my sisters, all of us have been bringing this message to humanity to wise up by looking inwardly to discover the kingdom is within. Both Abdullah and Elijah Muhammad was teaching a people that everything is within, that God is within. And when you look without, you are in idolatry. And you will never be able to love and appreciate yourself when you have idolatry or practice idolatry in your life, whereby you're looking outwardly for a savior or a redeemer outside of yourself. And we see this was done through secular Christianity, where they make you believe in a God outside of yourself. And we see it's been done in every religion, okay? Even in Islam, where people tend to look outside of themselves also, okay? We see the same thing is happening. But you always must go beyond religion and come in to true salvation, which is self-realization. And that is what the Abdullah would have taught Neville, and that is what Malcolm X mentor would have taught him also. And that is what I am teaching you. True salvation is self-realization, but you have to look within yourself. I can't teach you to believe in me or to believe in anyone outside of yourself, but to believe in yourself. So if the teacher is not teaching you to believe in yourself and is teaching you to believe in another, such a one is a false prophet, because every true prophet must be teaching you how to discover your prophetic side, or to discover the true prophecy that is within you, knowing that you can create your reality consciously, knowing you can speak your life how you want it to be, but you have to believe in yourself. Also, as I come to a close here, I want to say too that Abdullah and Elijah Muhammad, both of them always believe that no one should be superior over another, or make anyone to believe that they are superior over the other. But we are to separate ourselves and live our lives as people who have the same power and who are able to exercise that power. Also, both of them was exposing the systems that have been put in place to keep people in mental slavery, like the school system that have been put in place, whereby they teach you what to think and they never teach you how to think, and the religious system that have been put in place also to point you to look outside of yourself. And we see the political system that is behind these two other systems to put slave masters over you, instead of you ruling and governing yourself, instead of you having a sense of knowing who you are and how you are to be in control of your mind. Many people have been suffering because of a lack of knowledge. And this knowledge of which I'm speaking, knowledge of self. And both men wanted the rest of humanity to see how important it is for you to know that your real identity is your divinity, and to accept and believe in your divinity by looking inwardly. So both men taught their students to look inwardly, and that is why the message I'm bringing to you is pointing you to look inwardly also. For when we see when Neville wanted to travel to Barbados and he had no money, he had no work, Abdullah taught him to look inwardly. We see when Malcolm wanted to help his people, when he see poverty and he see the kind of community that they were living in, we see Elijah Muhammad taught him to look inwardly and teach him to teach others to look inwardly and to believe in themselves. So with that, Mr. My brother and my sisters, it doesn't matter how a person may feel towards these two men I would have mentioned, the two mentors and also the two students. It doesn't matter how people may feel at the end of the day. All I am saying, they have been teaching you basically to believe in your higher self, to accept your higher self. your Christ consciousness and to know your true spirituality, your true nationality, knowing your true identity, most of all knowing who you are. And there's no better advice that I can give to you but to say to you, you must believe in yourself, accept yourself, and embrace yourself and love yourself. And when you look in the mirror, you're supposed to see the image and likeness of God and never see any other. That is why I will say to you that the greatest lie that have been ever fed to humanity is the Jesus and Mary story, whereby they interpret the Bible to you as literal and as secular history, pointing you to look outwardly for a savior and a redeemer outside of yourself, and give you the image of the slave master to worship. I must stand here and speak such a truth, because that is what Abdullah was showing Neville Goddard also when he pointed him to the Sphinx and say it all came from his ancestor and it make him proud to be a Negro. So with that being said, my brother and my sister, it's very important for us to put these things in place and speak the truth, because Neville was speaking the truth of the Bible being interpreted psychologically, and we must focus inwardly. That's truth. And Malcolm X was doing the same thing, and he was saying by any means necessary you are to be free, because the law of liberty is for everyone, and it is your right to enjoy the law of liberty by focusing your energy inwardly. So with that being said, my brother and my sister, I want to say to you, if this is the very first time that you're listening to me and what I'm saying, it really makes sense to you and it's really resonating with you and you haven't subscribed already, I'm encouraging you to subscribe, to like, to comment, or to share this video. So with that being said, I want to say peace, love you all, I'm out.